Hey and welcome everyone, it's Egwin here from Beyond Systems. Today we are talking about prolonged standing and what one can do to make this a little bit more easy. See, this is actually a question that came from some of you guys who watched my previous videos where I'm talking about movement nuggets that one can incorporate in everyone's regular day life to get a little bit more natural movement practice in and to improve one's overall well-being. And it's an incredibly good question. Why? Because it is in itself so diverse. See, every single person, depending on their body structure, their injury history, and so on, will have a easy or harder time to actually stand for prolonged periods of time. Plus, obviously, it also depends on your specific workspace. If the workspace that we're working in is perfectly designed for your body proportions, then you're lucky. More often than not, workspaces don't provide a healthy alignment-based furniture that actually suits every single body type in there. So that is something that's really hard to address in this video. So what I can do, what I am going to do, is share some basic nuggets, some basic ideas, some basic principles with you on what you can do to improve. So first and foremost, every single movement that we do for prolonged periods of time, and I'm not talking about I'm going on a hike for 5 or 6 hours. I am talking about I am doing one type of work for 8 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week for years and years to come. Every single movement that we do, whether it's sitting or standing or walking a whole day with that amount of time spent in it, will eventually become a problem for the body unless we manage to balance it somewhat. See, humans are built for diversity, and it is through diversity that we thrive, and even more so that we stay healthy. Now let me elaborate. We can optimize every single movement that we do. We can optimize our posture. We can optimize our tension patterns in the body. We can recreate the arches of our feet and so on and so on. All of that is possible to a certain extent depending on the movement that we perform or the task that we perform, to put it more general. And see, when we are talking about a standing pose, things that are important for that is how aligned is my body in terms of the forces, the biomechanical forces that run through my body. Can I actually manage to balance them in some sort of fashion? See, for instance, if you constantly lift something in front of you and maybe put it to another place in front of you, I'd strongly suggest to switch your body position towards your working area from a front on to a slightly in a forward stance position, meaning one leg is slightly more forward so you can actually push your weight a little bit better between front and rear. So rather than being front on where you have to literally balance everything from the ball of your foot or your heel, which creates a lot of chronic tension in the back of your legs, rather stand at a slight angle and then maybe switch that up. One time it's the left leg forward, another time when you just make a step over, it's the right leg forward, but you are not completely front on and just walking like this in front whatever workspace you're at. For some of you, this might already do a lot in a positive sense. The next thing, obviously, something that every single person can do, but it takes a little bit of engagement, is make sure that the arches of your feet are healthy. Depending on the workspace, you might be required to wear specific shoes. If that is the case, make sure that at the very least you get the most out of those shoes. So if you are standing for that long a time, at least try to get something like an arch support. And I do not suggest that lightly, because for most people, an arch support worn throughout the whole day actually creates more problems than it solves, because it just weakens the arches of the feet over time. However, I would suggest, if you really are one of those who work 8 or 9 hours a day for 5 days a week in a standing position, for parts of those times, wear an arch support, and for other parts, do not do so. So for instance, when you are still fresh in the morning, when you come to work, you're relatively rested, do not wear an arch support. When you realize, okay, towards the end of the day, you become more and more tired, then start to use an arch support in your feet. Maybe just an insole that you put in there when you quickly hop to the toilet for a break or something like that. That could already support your overall structure. Another thing, make sure to release the suboccipital muscles back here in the neck. The short muscles that run from the back of your head towards your neck, as well as your jaw and your temporalis muscle up here. So to relax those three areas, maybe through a tiny massage here, through slight nodding the head up and down and left and right, and through a little bit of massage up here with a relaxed jaw, you can actually reduce the tension in those areas, which in turn will reduce the tension level in the rest of the body, the base tension level. It won't put you to sleep. It will just relax tensed areas and will realign your body more in its natural shape. I can go on about that more in detail, but I want to share some of those nuggets with you, so I'll put that in a separate video. The next thing, when you work with your arms somewhere on an elevated surface and you stand there with your legs, one of the most important things is make sure that there is proper blood flow between your legs and your upper body. You can do so by consciously using your hip joints more. Like for instance, when you stand here, rather than just walking from one side to the other, we discussed that in one of the last videos, literally use your joints. Use your joints more, use your hip joints a little more. Try to twist the upper body, and by doing so also move the hip joints, or when your activity requires of you to stand still in front of really just one spot, then literally just switch up your leg position, play a little bit with your hip every so often, not all the time. It's very important just to switch up the posture every so often and to get a little bit more dynamic going in the body. This dynamic thing is extremely important. Also, one more nugget, when you do things in a standing pose with your hands, try to still be aware of the rest of your body. Try to still pay attention to forces running through your body. Yes, this requires a little bit of awareness. It requires to tune into the sensomotoric feedback of your body, the sensation in your body. And when you do things, really be very aware of, okay, I'm not just grabbing this cup on my left side and putting it over here. No, you actually feel the pressure difference in the feet. More weight is shifting to the left side. You actually reopen again, you open your hip joints again, place the cup over here. The more elements in your body, physical components, muscle, and regions in your body that you are consciously aware of, at least to a certain degree. I'm not talking about starting to meditate while you work, won't work for every job, But I'm literally talking about this basic awareness of when you do something, you can have this second level awareness. Prime level awareness is the actual task. Second level awareness is, oh yeah, when I'm doing this, I feel the connection through my legs all the way up into my shoulders. I feel my body move. I have to turn around. Yeah, okay. It's a full body movement. I am closing my body on one side. My back slightly opens. Now my back is hinged. What's happening when I push my hip through towards the front? It changes something in my legs. It changes something in the upper body posture and structure. This awareness is incredibly important. I'll do a separate video on acknowledgement and awareness and being conscious about sensomotoric feedback in the very near future, probably the next video I put out. So this is extremely important as well. Another thing that you can do, it's not immediately work related, but it is a nice balance to a standing workplace environment. This is just go swimming. Go in the water. If I say just lie down, it is too much of a polarity. When your body is very tired from standing the whole day, and then you just simply go to bed, you literally create such a strong polarity between action and rest that the body will embrace that resting phase with everything it has. However, if you do not go to rest, but you do high-intensity sports, it will wear you out even more quickly. So this is where my suggestion of swimming comes in. Because when you go swimming, at least 2-3 times a week, if you can manage, swimming is a very low-intensity exercise. You can float a little bit in the water. Your body is still more in activity than it would be with you just sitting at home on a couch. Your body, due to the water movement, is also slightly brought into a different form of pulsation, which again helps tremendously to break out of tension patterns and habitual movement patterns that are present and that you retrain over and over and over again through your work. And so swimming is really a very good example of a low-intensity exercise that can help you to balance tension patterns in the body, and that can really help you to get rid of that physically stored stress that you probably take on through your day in a standing working environment. So this is an incredibly important thing to think about. You don't have to be a pro swimmer. You don't have to do laps in the pool. Just go in a 25-meter pool, whatever, 10-meter pool. Swim a couple of laps. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be freestyle or anything. Whatever is possible. Float around a little bit. Shower yourself with warm water, maybe cold water afterwards, just to get blood flowing again. This tangling of the legs, the soft surroundings, but still the complete full body immersion in an element that provides sensomotoric feedback throughout the whole body. This is amazing as a balance element to a day at work where more often than not, to 92% of the time, it's your brain and your upper body that's most likely engaged. And so this will sort of pull you back into more of a full body experience, which is extremely important. It will also help you to reduce tension and pressure in the hip joints and around the hip joints so that blood flow, lymphatic flow can be improved again. So that's another very, very important element that I wanted to share with you. Now, when we stand for the whole day, the things that I put out in the last 2 nuggets were very important regarding release to rise rather than just pull yourself into a more healthy posture, sort of. So, like I said, when we're talking about standing, when we're talking about being on your feet for prolonged periods of time, in a nutshell, put them all together. Try to optimize your arches of the feet. Try to optimize your posture, your overall posture, by paying more attention to your highest head joints here, your suboccipital joints up here, than to the rest of the body, actually, when it comes to realignment. Always think of this region first. Allow this region to release and grow tall out of this area. Thirdly, be aware of the whole body. Try to stay in conscious alertness and awareness, in a positive sense, of your whole body movement. Try to incorporate as many different elements of your body, mechanical elements of your body, in your work. Say, you work in a coffee shop. You have those coffee cups in front of you. You turn around. You grab something from the cupboard up there, rather than just walking over like this. Make it a full body movement. Make it fun. Reach up. Extend your whole body up. Come back down. Put it here. Grab the milk. Make it a full body immersion experience. I know, like I said, some jobs, like when you work in a factory and you do the same movements over and over again, make it more difficult to actually keep a healthy structure. So that would require a more detailed observation of what you are doing individually and how one can optimize that. So I'm giving general ideas. The fourth element that you can do is use your legs consciously more. Also, try to work your toes a little bit. Try to work your calves by every so often lifting the heel and pressing the ball of the foot down in the ground to get blood pumping a little bit, and shift your weight a little bit. Also, bring one leg forward if you are always in a front-on position, just to change the biomechanical loads in the body. And also, don't always just bring one leg forward. Switch it up. One time it's the left leg, one time it's the right leg. Just switch it up. As a recovery tool, obviously, what I just mentioned, go swimming. It's so super easy, and it's so incredibly healthy for the body, especially to recover from chronic and repetitive monotonous movements. And another element, obviously, is sleep. So make sure to improve your sleep quality as much as possible. Like I said, it's definitely possible to optimize every posture, every movement that you do. But when something happens repetitively over prolonged periods of time, then special elements have to be taken care of. Special measures might be necessary to actually facilitate a healthy body as much as is possible in that specific case then. All right, leave me a comment if you have questions, which I can easily understand if there are. I'm happy to reply to them. If they're not too specific, I'll definitely answer to them here on the channel. If you have very specific questions, please understand that it might require me to go in a more individualistic work with you. But whatever I can put out there in a general way is awesome, and I will share it here on the channel. Also, if you like this video and you think someone else can benefit from it, like it and share it with other people. Subscribe to my channel to stay up to date to nuggets like this, and also to check out all my previous videos that wrap around healthy, natural body movement, integrated movement in regular day life, and so on and so on. This series will continue. I will do a video about waking up in the morning real soon and what movement nuggets one can incorporate while still lying in bed, and so on and so on. So stay tuned, there is more to come. Thanks for watching. Have a beautiful time and enjoy. See you around. Bye.